Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Ready Speaker. This is Roland DeRucci. I'm your sole speaker today. Don't have a guest. I honestly just want to talk about a couple of films today. Again, doing the comparison thing, see how things are, and I have a couple of movies we're going to look at. The first one being The Causeway. I think that's where it is. That's the title. It's Causeway, not The Causeway, but Causeway, and that's with Jennifer Lawrence and Brian Tyree Henry. I like Brian Tyree. I like Jennifer Lawrence and a lot of stuff. So some good stuff in this thing. And we're also comparing it to not also we are comparing it to My Policeman, and that is with Harry Styles. We spoke about him recently from Don't Worry, Darling. Emma Corrin, Gina McKee, Linus Roche, Rupert Everett, David Dawson, a couple other people in it. It's a pretty uh, decent sized cast. So I'm going to go with Causeway. It's the one I saw uh, first, and then we'll go to my Policeman. So I'm looking here because that's where I have everything on IMDb. So please excuse me, I didn't write down notes. So I'm trying to sort of just keep it on my other monitor and chat about these things. So there's two things that really I found in common with these films. And again, this is part of what I do. I sort of just do a comparison review of how they jive, if they jive, uh, and who did it better. In this film, they both felt like plays to me. So you give them a watch. It's really up to you. It's not up to me. I'm just helping you guide you to a place of wanting to see something. And I think I think there's something there for everybody in every film. So it doesn't matter if I like it or not. So please watch films. Always watch films. Watch as much as you can out there. Watch it every service if you can. Work around it. You can find a way. So Causeway and My Policeman both feel very theatrical, very conversational. It's not usually what you see nowadays, where you have a lot of films that are heavy in action or jump cuts and shaky cam, which I've seen less and less of the shaky cam, which I'm happy about because it sort of just gave me headaches. But now you have stuff that's that's more dialogue driven. Interesting thing with Causeway, I thought it was shot during COVID, and it wasn't because it's such a tight cast and location and everything. It was actually shot in 2019, but not released till 2020, 2022. And I'm not sure when My Policeman was shot, but that actually is pretty recent also, and also very theatrical with a uh, large cast. I thought a lot of settings, a lot of locations, whereas Causeway is kind of like a tight little spot. So, summary for Causeway, well, a review of what the storyline is. I can read the tagline probably, but I'll just do it. Jennifer Lawrence plays a U.S. soldier back from I think she has trauma or PTSD from her tours in Afghanistan, and she started coping with that mentally. And she comes back to her hometown, and she sees how she adjusts in civilian life. I really don't see that in her portrayal of it of the character. I don't really see that as the tagline. I think it's her just coming home and feeling like an outcast. I think the subtext here, and yeah, there are always spoilers here, is that she's a lesbian, and she sort of has this relationship with James. So she plays Lindsay. James is played by Brian Tyree Henry, and she has this. It's a friendship, admiration, love that almost goes physical. Sometimes doesn't feel or feels like it should go physical. They both have a pool scene, which is actually a pivot point, which is kind of interesting. So there is, again, like I always say, there's always these common elements that filmmakers use, storytellers do, because we're all getting the same stimulants, stimulations from what's happening in the world, and sometimes story little cues and things that move stories work. The pool scene was a big part of Don't Worry, Darling, and in here there's definitely two scenes where there's scenes with involving the pool, water, rebirth, baptism, I guess, something like that. That floatiness, that being able to lift yourself from the weight of life. So water plays a lot in both films, and how they get along. With My Policeman, it's a period piece, so it's shot. Geez, I don't know when the time is set, but it's back there, and and what they're doing is they have people in the current state of how they're going through things, and then they have in when things were happening, where we're in all this it was essentially a love triangle. So you have Hey, Harry Styles is a policeman, and he's low key. He's low key gay, and he has an affair with a gentleman in the town, and he decides to get married to perpetuate his career as a policeman, and I guess that's all that drama. I'll be very honest with you, I couldn't finish my policeman, not really for the content. I think both of them was kind of slow paced. I just think the story was just too long for me, and I got about an hour in. I'm trying to see the duration of it. The length. I forget how it is. No, it's an hour and 53. I got about an hour and change in. It was hard to finish it. Not because of what's there. Well, Causeway was 132. I was able to finish that. I kind of liked it by the end. It's not because of the content. There was strong sexual content in it, uh, which Causeway didn't have. My policeman did. So you have to be aware of that. Harry Styles, I did like him in Don't Worry, Darling. I think he did his homework here too. I don't think you know again, he feels like a lost sort of soul. Maybe that's his niche of being a lead, and that's where he's going with it. He's taking a lot of risks that a lot of actors wouldn't do. I think I admire him for that. I'm saying this guy's doing some interesting things with his career, and he's trying to break out of the shell of who he is. Related to Don't Worry, Darling, maybe there was so much buzz to sort of take away from this or prepare people for this role too. This just came out on Amazon, I think it was. So I think a lot of times people just add things or do things to get comms out there and get everybody buzzing and multiple things. It's that both these films are definitely an award bait sort of film. They do a nice dramatic piece. They don't pretty everybody up. This the way it's shot, the style and everything. It's meant to be a thinking person's film, and I think they're playing up to that. I think the aspect they were both shot at 1.85 one for the aspect ratio. Again, it's the palettes are very similar. One was an American dreary. One was almost BBC dreary. My policeman shot in England, and it has those greens and those subdued beiges all over the place. It has that medium shot placement all the time. They work with bars and stuff like that, so there's smoke and smoking and all that things going on. Causeway also too. I mean, Jennifer Lindsay comes back and she becomes a pool cleaner. So almost a lot of stuff happens in the house where the owners are gone, and she just cleans the pool every day, and that's her thing. That's her thing. That's where we see it. So you have like these little teal colors pop, but everything else is pretty mundane, pretty boring. She has a bad relationship with her mother. So there's all these things that are happening there. And like I said, and that's a production company is A24. Interesting. Interesting. So they do interesting stuff. I like their stuff. A24 generally I think pull bring some things across the line that other. Oh wow, he has a lot of ink. Harry Styles has a lot of ink on his chest. He has the little bluebirds. They don't show in the movie. Interesting. Good makeup job. Uh, I don't know if I really. I always say watch a movie, give a movie a chance. I don't know if I really would say seek out my policeman. It might be your thing. You might want to see what he's doing, how he's trying to break out of the audience, the world's view of him, and try to be like. I think sometimes people want to be taken as a serious actor, and they'll push envelopes, and they'll just keep pushing, pushing, pushing. I think he's just trying to find his rhythm. Again, I admire him. I think he's taking some chances. I think he's doing some really good stuff in that sense, where he's trying to bring his personality and what he can bring to a character. So I admire that. I think the movie is just too freaking long. I think the pacing is a little off. It might be my American sensibilities, as opposed to somebody from the UK who might really love that slow chew of a story, and it's just not what I really wanted. Not that I need action. I don't mind even the romance stuff, but either make it a little bit more romantic, heighten it a little bit. I get it. This was in the UK when homosexuality was illegal, which a lot of people probably in the audience might not know that. It was illegal, I think, until the 70s. So people had to hide, because that was a state, unlike the U.S., which has state laws, and I think sodomy is that's what I label as sodomy. It might still be illegal in the U.S. I'm not sure. You can comment before if you know. I don't know. But but still might still be illegal in some places in this country, but I think until the '70s it was illegal in the UK. So the gay culture really at the height still. There was a lot of victimization. There was perceptions of who they were or preconceived perceptions of who they were, and people just really were attacked, and it wasn't a good time. Even though people think, oh, Europe is very open and stuff like that. Every place can have its demons and how they treat people, and we forget of what happened recently, and we kind of only think of the now. But somebody that is really free to be who they want to be in England now, they're somebody they knew was older, maybe 20 years older, wasn't that free in that same time period. So there is an appreciation, I think, from the older people who went through all of that of like, hey, and that's I think just sidelined into politics of why they don't want to lose what they've gained because they knew what it was when it wasn't around, when those freedoms weren't around. So kudos to that, to telling that story. I know it's come up in a few movies in the last decade or so about how they treat that community in the UK, which again has a perception of being very open and tolerant, and it's not always the case. So what is true now doesn't mean it was true, even just a few years ago. But again, I felt a little long. I kind a little repetitive. Sometimes you're beating the horse a little bit. You're beating the message down, and I got it. I sort of would like to have maybe. I think this is the problem with me with my policeman. I really didn't understand the perspective. It was a memory of three people, and I didn't really understand the point of view, of where things were. I guess it was the wife, but I wasn't sure. There were moments, and you saw, there were telltale signs of what was going on. Uh, that sort of sprinkled throughout. They were a little heavy. I don't say I wouldn't say they were too subtle. They were a little heavy, and I think just sort of, just yeah, here you go. This is coming. This is coming. This is coming, and it just took so long. And that sounds weird, but it just took too long to get there for me, or it wasn't as big of a blow up. I didn't watch it to the end, so maybe it got better. Maybe I'll give it a shot at some point and watch those last like 30 minutes or so. I just didn't need to. I didn't need to have the resolution. I guess if that sounds wrong or right, I'm not sure. I didn't need to finish that movie. I just didn't need to finish it. I kind of got it. I felt bad. Okay, this kind of sucks. Everybody's sort of losing in that. No one's winning the relationship. I didn't even pick up that it was flashbacks in the beginning. I was watching with my wife, who was somewhat paying attention. She wasn't really that following that much, and she picked up on it. I didn't. I didn't pick up that it was flashback scenes. So that's crazy. Okay, now I get it, and I still didn't really care that much. Now Causeway, I'm not a huge fan of the military stuff. The PTSD and how it's depicted. Usually, I think it just it makes everybody a hero, and I think times of war. And this is my personal belief. It's hard to think of it as heroes. It's you're doing things you have to do, and I don't think we should worship that. When you're taking a life or doing something that you don't know about, and you think, oh, but they're attacking us. But again, this is a side bar conversation. But I think there's other ways to look at things without hero worship. But I do appreciate what Jennifer Lawrence was doing. She brought back. I think the real star of Causeway is Mr. Henry. I think he has a certain temper. I love him in Atlanta. I pretty much love him in everything I see him in. He has this great physicality. And if you watch my reviews, you'll see that I love people who know how to lean into a part, to be there. It's not upstaging. It's not trying to be the every guy. But I love seeing people who know with the tick of their face, with their they roll their eyes, the lean of their shoulder. They say so much, and he's one of those actors. I think he really brings something to it, and maybe he gets cast in parts that are really good for him. He definitely has an excellent rhythm with his voice for an American actor. That's usually really really hard. He has a certain pacing and tempo that I think is excellent. And like I said, in Atlanta, I think he doesn't carry the show. I think that the ensemble is great, but he is really a strong element, and I love when they have episodes that focus on him. So that film, I definitely watched it. It moved. The rhythm is okay. The colors are, the color, the palette's okay, very similar. So like I said, American dreary, UK dreary, theater, almost like a American plays where I think this one a baby didn't die. Usually a baby dies in American theater, but so this one a baby didn't die, but someone's soul is crushed or somebody. I think somebody died, and it's rough. No, actually, they're implied that someone died, but somebody went to jail. So like there you go, so sort of American theater. There was a moment where the Lindsay, Jennifer Lawrence character, sort of tries to get physical with Brian Tyree, and with the James character, and it didn't work. For me, I didn't understand it. Actually, in the character, didn't understand it. So I don't know what was going on there, but sexuality is fluid. I don't think anybody is locked in, so I do appreciate that. Maybe, and this is a firm believer, a belief I have, not a firm believer, but a belief I have that people sometimes an answer to a suffering is sexual, because that's what they've seen in society or friends, their peers, whatever it is, push people into that. That answers it. That always answers your stress. That always answers your problem. Just get laid. Or just give something away of yourself, and that shows how open you are. And I think that sort of played into that. So that's why it didn't turn me off entirely. That it was something that, yes, she says I like girls, and I'm not into guys, and he's being like almost like an older brother who's obviously attracted to her, and there's this weird tension going on, and then she makes a move, and he freaks out to say, what is going on, because you tell me this and you tell me that, and I don't know what we're doing here. But he's trying to find friendship. He's missing something. She's missing something, and she thinks maybe, hey, crossing this line might fulfill something for both of us. I have a friend. He's getting what he wants, because all guys want this, and it goes. It doesn't go off well, but that's how it shouldn't go off well. It shouldn't. I was thinking that this might happen, and I think it's better that it didn't. And I think that's a better story. There's even a point where he protects her, he blocks her from a guy hitting on her. That hit on was horrible. That's probably the worst scene in the whole film. How a guy hits. You just don't do that, bro. You just don't go up to a girl, just because you don't vibe that she's with that guy. Maybe it's a racial thing. It's set in New Orleans, so maybe it's a racial thing. She's white, he's black, and the guy hitting on her was white. So that didn't feel real at all. Actually, it just didn't feel real at all. It would have been better if maybe he was buying drinks for them, and they all start talking, and he's having a good time, and he crosses that line, saying, "Hey, are you guys vibing? Because I like to make a move on that." That is a little bit more creepy and believable than what I saw there. I thought that was a little bit forced. So, still a good movie, not a bad movie. Definitely a wartime movie. Both of them very very much. And actually, under Causeway, it says more like this, My Policeman. And the posters, I like the poster, but I thought the younger version of one of the guys. I think that guy Roth should have played the older version. I think he looks more like him. But again, people don't like to be they don't like to be tagged with certain types of roles. But I think that guy Roth would have been great for him. Harry Styles, I don't know who could have been him. I don't know. An older version of him. I don't know. Oh well, but decent movies. Give them a shot. They're stories. Definitely, if you like award film stories, these are two of them. That's what they're going to be. They're slow. Just watch it with whoever you want to watch it. But it's going to be you trying to think about what's going on in the dialogue. See how it works. See how it works. It's I wouldn't say they're the best movies to watch right now. I think I've seen some other movies recently that sort of make me chuckle or push me across that line a little bit more. Something came out recently. I think The Word, The Wound. I forget. So there's something going on now too, and See How They Run, which I recently watched. This got My Policeman got 6.5 stars. Not great. And 6.5 also for Causeway. So they are shot wise. I'm just looking at the trailers right now. I think, definitely very similar palettes. Very similar palette. Jennifer Lawrence getting the makeup going. It's a little bit of like the Silver Lining Playbook, whatever that was a few years ago. That sort of like pushed her out a little bit more. They got a pool scene, a big pool scene, a small pool scene. That definitely that palette, with a little bit more sun, because UK just never has that much sun. But the makeup is very subdued. It's very pushed down. So that's usually a award, where people do that. The angles are interesting. It's a lot of greens, a lot of teals. Looking at all that stuff. So there's a lot of things going on there. And I say for Harry Styles, very similar. Again, looking at it, very very similar palette. Give him a watch. Do some comments below if you really want to talk about it, or come back and I can revisit these. That's always an option. On That's the whole premise of my channel, is that I want to talk about these things. Maybe I need to be exposed to a process or a thought that is something that I don't generally see. So come back, maybe do a comment, say, hey Roland, I want to sit and chat with you. We'll set up a meeting. We'll discuss this movie. It'll be fun. You can have your coffee. I can have my coffee, or tea, or any other beverage. Hell, I think one time we had liquor. I think I had wine on one of my episodes. So I'll have wine even. So that's the end of this episode. A little more subdued, a little low key, but it's okay. And like I've been saying, this is we're in 2022. I know I do it a lot of this episode. I shouldn't do that. So I'll try not to. I'll make a mental note to not do that. So how I've been ending all these shows is that I've been speaking about my recent history. It's 2022. We're all going through a lot of things. We've lost a lot of people. A lot of things have changed for us. A lot of things are changing for us. One for me was I had open heart surgery. I have chest. See, I just did it again. I have a scar on my chest. I'm getting through it. I'm getting through it every day. I'm getting stronger every day. I tell people the way I look at life now is very different. I was struggling through stuff mentally, work-wise, everything, like a lot of people, and you shouldn't be ashamed to talk about it. But I go to sleep every night saying I finished the day, and I wake up, I'm happy, and I say now I'm going to start a new day, because it goes that quick, people. It goes that quick. Do what you love, watch what you love, talk, hug everybody you see. Don't worry about it. Hug them. Give a chat, give an opinion. Don't be mean. Don't shut them down. Don't let them shut you down either. Say, talk to me. Don't yell at me. Don't shut a conversation down. Watch movies. Discuss movies. It's art. It's always happening every day. Discuss anything. Discuss fashion. I have my son. He does fashion design now, and we talk about fashion. We talk about folds of Japanese styles and American styles, European styles, fabric weight. That's a great conversation. I'm actually really excited about it. My other son, we talk about music all the time, about music from the 80s, 70s, and we have these great conversations just talking about things and people and cultural moments and all these things. So everyone do that. I know I got a little ranty at the end, a little preachy, but I want everybody to do that. So watch my show, watch my podcast, like it, ask to come on, ask. This is what this is for. This is what this medium is for. To open the door for people who want to say something in a coherent, respectful way. It's really not for the ranting. It's not for the trolls. It's not for the people who are angry. Screw those people. I really don't care about them. They're going to be angry regardless. They'll be angry at home. But let's have you happy on the platform where we can have a conversation. Maybe you change my mind. Maybe I change your mind. Maybe our minds don't need to change. We just need to open our eyes to new things. So see you soon. Come to the show. Roland Rucci signing off. Ciao, baby.